Hello my witchy friends, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. My name is Sophie, I'm the Midwest Magician, and today I wanted to talk to you about kitchen witchcraft. This video is going to be podcast style. I have a video of myself cooking in the background, but it is not necessary to view it in order to watch the video. You won't be missing anything visually if you don't want to use your eyeballs and you just want to put this on in the background. A quick little disclaimer before we get started in talking about kitchen witchery. I do not have kids, and this allows me a little bit more uninterrupted time to cook and garden. I really only have a few hobbies, and two of which you're seeing in this video, which are cooking and gardening. So I do make sure to take time to bring myself joy in that way. And I understand that not everyone enjoys these things, and that is why I have also included some ideas in this video for kitchen witchery that does not involve cooking every day. We can make takeout food, frozen meals, or home-cooked meals magical. We're witches, damn it. If we want to make a bag of potato chips magical, we will find a way. All that said, I wanted to make sure everyone felt included in a practice that can seem daunting to so many. We all have to eat, so why not make it into something special? So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is turning your cooking into a daily ritual. Now, this can be a meal that's involved like what I am doing in this video, with a lot of gardening, foraging, chopping and preparing ingredients, or it can be something as totally simple as boiling some noodles and opening up a jar of pasta sauce, which is a lot of the time one of my go-tos during a busy work week. Really, the intention here is to make it into a practice that we can enjoy and pour our intentions into. Typically what I do to turn regular cooking into a ritual, I like to fully clean off the space that I'll be cooking on, and then following that, I will go ahead and sweep off the space energetically with a tiny hand broom. I do also like to light one single white candle, and I find that this helps me to clear my mind, leave the day behind, and shift into being at home to focus on the things that matter the most to me, which is nourishing myself and my family and enjoying myself while doing so. And something that I like to do to kind of enhance the ritual is having some kind of music on in the background. Typically, this will be either meditation music or some kind of beats that match the intention that I'm looking to put into the meal that I'm preparing. So the next thing that I wanted to touch base on is stirring, sprinkling, and mixing the intention into whatever it is that you're preparing. I can already feel some of you guys rolling your eyes because this is an obvious one, but it's super impactful, so I do think it's worth mentioning. So there's obviously a whole bunch of ways that this can look when you're adding intention into your meals or into whatever it is that you're preparing. An example that I have is stirring protection into my morning drink. I will go ahead and stir it clockwise 6 different times while focusing on having a safe ride to work. There's an absolute myriad of different intentions that you can put into the food that you're preparing. If you need to focus on certain tasks that you just really don't want to do, if you need money coming your way, if you need to get an A on a test, you can put these intentions into whatever it is you're preparing. Let's say you haven't been getting very good sleep. You're preparing yourself a chamomile and valerian root tea to go to bed. You can stir an intention in there to get a good night's rest. There are really endless options. The sky is the limit for adding intentions into your food or drink. The next thing that I wanted to touch on is incorporating both magical and medicinal ingredients to whatever it is that you're preparing. So in the last little section, I talked about the drink that I make in the morning, and that is a variation of hot chocolate. I use cacao powder, and that is for opening my heart chakra. I also stir in some cinnamon to ground me, and then I do add just a little splash of coffee for mental focus. So that would be more so an example of magical ingredients being added into what I'm preparing. I do like to use for medicinal ingredients a lot of garlic, turmeric, and ginger, mostly for their anti-inflammatory properties. They're also really good for preventing any kind of illness. However, you can always look up what ingredients are going to be good for what medicinal uses. But I will say, just a disclaimer, Ingredients are not to be used as a substitute to medication. It can be used to supplement and enhance. And also, please make sure that whatever it is that you're adding to your food, if you are on medication, is going to work well with that medication. I don't want you guys to hurt yourselves or anything like that because I told you to. Okay. Anyway, moving along from that, the next thing that I wanted to touch on is connecting to our ingredients. This isn't always going to be super practical if you're doing a very simple meal or if you're running to the grocery store for like one or two things. But what I like to personally do is while I'm in the store, take a minute to just hold the ingredients that I'm buying, make sure that there's a connection there energetically, and then pop them in the cart, and I can continue to connect with those ingredients as I'm preparing the meal. And I understand for this next little portion, not everybody's going to be able to relate, but I do think it's worth mentioning. The best way that I can connect to my ingredients is sourcing them from my garden. I've seen them basically from seed or from transplant until they're ready to be eaten, and I've been the one tending and caring for them. Again, that's not going to work for everyone, and honestly, it doesn't work for every single ingredient that I'm using. I can't grow every single thing in the garden, but it is a great way to start energetically connecting to some of the ingredients that I'm using within my meals. I hope I'm articulating this properly because really what I am intending for this is to start to form a relationship with the meal that you're preparing for yourself. And a part of that can be just speaking to the ingredients as you're chopping them up, just letting them know your intention, garlic, is to help me with anti-inflammatory purposes. I appreciate your help for this meal. Thank you. And just kind of really trying to connect with your ingredients in that way. I know it might sound silly to some people, but honestly, talking to my ingredients is a great way that I've found to connect to the food that I'm preparing magically. Another great kitchen witch tip that I have is to give some back to the earth. I personally try to save all of my plant-based food scraps, and I do like to compost them so I can give them back to my garden for additional nutrients at the end of every single year. I understand not everyone has the ability to compost. If you cannot compost, a great idea would be to save your veggie scraps in a Ziploc baggie in the freezer. Once you have enough, you can make yourself a veggie broth just by boiling them and simmering them in a pot over water. Keep most of it for yourself and maybe share a splash or two with the earth. Just go outside, find a tree. Here you go, tree. I'm sharing some of my delicious magical broth with you. It can really be any kind of offering as long as it's not going to harm wildlife or the earth in general. So typically with my offerings, I like to try to keep them to be vegetables or something that a bird or a squirrel can eat. But for me personally, composting is the way that I like to do that the best. I feel like it's a great way to kind of see the full cycle from seed to plate to decomposition and right back into the soil. It's just such a magical cycle in and of itself, and I really like to include that into my kitchen witching practice. The next thing, again, is not always going to be practical, but it does feel so magical when you can do this, and that is sharing your food with others. Now, I share with my husband every single night. We have the same dinner together every night, and that's something we really prioritize. But something that I really like to do is share like my bread that I make. I am very new to sourdough, but that is something that when you get a loaf that is just right, that is something, oh my gosh, I've never felt so fulfilled in my life, just because it takes like over 24 hours to make one loaf of bread. So it's something that I really want to share with others. It's something that I am putting my intention and working really hard to put love into it and to see it all the way from its rough flour form and starter and water and salt, and that's really all the ingredients. But seeing it from such raw basic ingredients into such a tedious and blood, sweat, and tears, but not really. Like there's no sweat and blood, but all of my hard work and my labor of love, that is something that I really want to share with the people that mean so much to me. So personally, I think sharing what you're cooking is such a magical way to connect with your cooking practice. The next thing I really wanted to talk about is enchanting our food. So personally for me, I do this as I plate the dish. And the reason why I do it when I plate it is because as I'm preparing meals, whatever it is, I like to sprinkle my intention in. I like to incorporate the magical and the medicinal ingredients. I connect to the ingredients. So I'm doing all of these things as I'm cooking the meal. And right at the end, as a final push, I like to charge it with my love and ask it for renewed energy. So all of the love and intention and energy that I put into the meal, I want to feel it back with every single bite. I want to feel alive and enriched as I am eating the meal that I prepared. So I feel like enchanting it right at the end as I'm plating it is the best way to do that. So how exactly can you enchant your food? Personally, I like to say incantations, or I can just hold a word or two and roll it around in my mind as I'm plating and serving everything. You can hum a tune, you can sing a song, you can hum and sing in your head if you don't want to do it out loud or you're embarrassed and other people are around. And it doesn't have to be for home-cooked meals like what I'm doing in this video. You can kick your take up a notch. You can kick up your takeout. Am I saying this right? I sound so silly. Kick up your takeout a notch. Oh my goodness gracious, you guys. Can you tell that I've been talking for too long because I'm getting to the point where everything sounds silly? What I'm trying to say is put your takeout on a plate to kick it up a notch. And while you're plating it, you can enchant the food with what we just said before, singing, humming incantations, saying some words or two in your head. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but I'm leaving that in because it was really funny. Next, I would like to talk about speaking gratitude before and during the meal. Now, personally, I feel like it is a great way to kind of hold the energy and intention of all of the preparation work that we've been doing. And when I say all of the preparation work, again, that could be boiling some noodles and opening a jar of pasta. But I think the intention of speaking gratitude is so important. I think it's worth noting too that this doesn't have to be a prayer, but it can be prayer style where you are feeling grateful that you have the ability to prepare a meal or that you have the means to get takeout to bring home to yourself. Really, it's just about being grateful for the things that we have access to. I think it's a great way to seal in the intention, the enchantment, the connection that we've made with our food. And for me personally, I like my meals to be distraction free. So I do like to put my phone away and focus on the meal that is in front of me, focus on the flavors. Again, even if it's just takeout, I want to really be excited about what I have in front of me and grateful for what I have in front of me, whether it's the meal or the company that I have while I am eating the meal. So this last little portion is going to be unscripted because I just thought of it right now, but it's really important. And that is the tools that we use for our cooking. When you think about kitchen tools, when you think about knives, cutting boards, utensils like spatulas, pots and pans, to be completely honest with you, they're already consecrated because they're only being used within the kitchen. So for me personally, I like to use a lot of wooden tools, and a part of consecrating them even further would be the care for those tools. So with spatulas and spoons that are wooden, you're going to have to boil them to clean them, and then you're also going to have to condition them with some kind of kitchen oil. So for me, that would be the perfect opportunity to consecrate them even further and let those tools that are already meant for the kitchen know that their job is going to be taken even further, and they are going to be used for magical kitchen purposes. And personally, I think wooden tools are great for this because they are porous. So I feel like as you're conditioning and cleaning your tools, you can kind of tuck those intentions and that consecration into the pores of the wood, if that makes sense. All right, my beautiful magical friends, that is really all that I have to talk about within this video. I really hope that you found some inspiration in this. I know that kitchen witchery, kitchen witchcraft can be kind of daunting, and for me personally, it took a really long time for me to kind of understand what the difference was between just cooking and doing kitchen witchcraft. So hopefully this was helpful to you, and I really hope that you got some inspiration on how to turn your cooking, no matter the skill level and no matter how often and frequently you do it, to the next level and to a witchier kind of a practice, making it into a ritual. I really appreciate you being here, and if you made it to the end of the video, let me know. Maybe share a little vegetable emoji just to let me know you made it to the end. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time, and have an excellent and magical day. Bye bye.